Welcome to Leaders of the West, a podcast for innovators and changemakers. I'm your host, Jessie Jarvis, the founder of the West, and I'm sitting down with agriculturalists, entrepreneurs, executives, and everyone in between with the goal of digging into the strategies, mindsets, and lessons that have been crucial to the success of Ag and Western. Whether you're carrying on the next generation of your family's operation, starting something from scratch, or determined to climb up the leadership ladder, we're going to inspire you to continue to dream big, growing not just you, but the future of agriculture and Western as a whole. Let's go. We all love a success story, so I am sharing a job seeker success from Of the West. You guys know how much I love getting your feedback about using the platform, and knowing that we've helped provide the connection point for a job seeker and employer is incredibly cool. So here it goes. After spending 4 months scouring various online career platforms, chat rooms, websites, and seeking the right path, I stumbled upon Of the West. It really was a breath of fresh air. Finally, a website devoted to agricultural professions with clear job descriptions and an easy-to-use format. I was able to find the perfect fit for my passion and skill set. We're now 2 months in, and I can't imagine doing anything else. That was sent in by Lane Hale, who is the bull lease manager for 100th Meridian Ranching. If you guys are looking for a new job, or someone you know is looking for a new job, you've got to have Of the West on your radar. There's no place out there that has a wider variety of jobs in the Western industry than we do, and new jobs are added every single day. It's free to create an account, and that gives you the opportunity to add your resume into our resume database, create job alerts for specific positions and companies who are hiring, and so much more. You can go to ofthewest.co, and in the top right corner, click register to get started. That's ofthewest.co, top right corner, click register. You are off to the races. I'm happy to have you back for this week's episode of Leaders of the West. Today, we're sitting down with Erin Brown. Erin is one of my personal friends, and she's somebody I really admire. She's a photographer, but aside from being a photographer, she saw a need for something and created an incredible platform called Rural Ag Stock. It is just what it sounds. It is a stock photo website specifically for ag and Western industries. So instead of going to some generic mainstream stock photo website and finding generic, not so real life ag and Western photos, you can go to Real Ag Stock and you can find anything and everything as far as photos and videos are concerned for agriculture and the Western industries. And the cool part is those contributing photographers that have their images on Real Ag Stock are actual ag and Western photographers. So they are shooting the best of the best. They are the best of the best. And Erin is just the genius behind this platform. She is somebody, she grew up on a corn and soybean farm, and she spent and is still today a photographer. So she really focuses on production agriculture for commercial clients. But because of that knowledge, she saw this need. She built an incredible platform. And I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have today just about how she created that, the journey that it took to get there, and where Rural Ag Stock is headed in the future. So with that, let's get right to it. Today's guest, Erin Brown. Erin, welcome to today's episode. I am beyond thrilled to have you here. You and I have worked together for a long time now, or it feels like forever. Maybe it's only been a couple of years, but in that time, we have really been able to, create such a great friendship. And I think that you are absolutely amazing. I think that the product that you have created in Real Ag Stock is absolutely phenomenal. I am mind blown by it. I think it's such a need for the industry. And I am excited to get to talk to you today and have you share a little bit about all of that with everybody. So let's get started. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your work as a photographer and where you're at now?
As far as you and I go, it's been fun. It feels like we've built our businesses together.
We totally have. It's like we've had these little babies that we've now grown into toddlers.
Yes. So I grew up on my family's corn and soybean farm in Central Illinois. My mom took a very active role on the farm. So as kids, we were in the field when they were in the field. So it truly was a lifestyle for us. Then at 17, I wanted a camera. And even though I had money in the bank, my mom said, I think you need to earn this. So, because money in the bank came from grandparents and a job here and there, but it was always discussed, when money went into saving and what was spending money. So the camera was still counted as spending money at that point. And she said, you need to earn this. So I spent a lot of time in the chisel plow that fall. And from there, my business journey looks a lot like other portrait photographers. I started taking pictures of friends. People wanted to hire me. I made a price list and a website back in 2010, when that was like, it was not a beautiful website because the tools that we have now just aren't weren't
no
available
website
then.
in 2010 was a cute website. Let's be honest.
No, the branding was horrific and it's hysterical to look back on. But, in 2010, as a senior in high school, that was trying really hard. So I started photographing seniors, families, kids, weddings, you name it. It was a fantastic way to float my hobby and have a flexible job while going to school for ag business. I never thought I'd be a full-time photographer. I loved business, accounting, economic theory. It all came very natural to me. I thought I would work for a grain elevator or maybe a consulting company someday. And then something happened that completely changed the course of my life. My sophomore year, I took an internship that had a paid stipend of $1,000 for one semester. I concepted and created a Facebook page called Keeping It Real Through the Lens of a Farm Girl. And this was back in 2012. And a lot of Facebook pages were anonymous, and most of the posts were primarily text. People were posting pictures every now and then, but it was nothing. It wasn't like the content that you see today.
No, those were the good old days of Facebook too.
Yes, they were. So as for my project, I said, hey, what if I take pictures around our farm with this new camera I, have been working with for a few years now, and overlaid ag facts and quotes on top of it? What content is today, but back then, this was right as memes were coming out. I was making this stuff before I even saw my first meme, a couple months later. So it was very different, and it was advocating for the ag industry, back when Time magazine was publishing really negative articles about agriculture, and that content just went viral, and it launched my career. At 19, 20 years old, I was doing speaking engagements. I was creating content for companies, and it really put me on the map. I think it's important to note, though, and to acknowledge that a lot of my story happened because I was in the right place at the right time. I found the perfect intersection of what I loved and what I was good at, which was photography and design, and a little outside the box thinking of hey, what if we smashed that together and made something that nobody was really making at that time? But it also was exactly what worked for social media at that time. And it played perfectly to my strengths. It was my big break. I think everything takes a lot of luck, or maybe a little bit of luck, but you have to be ready for that luck. That viral content experience happened to me because I found the perfect intersection of what I loved and what I was good at. And I smashed it all together to advocate for agriculture. But I guess where I'm going with this is I think that we have to acknowledge that the luck plays into it, but we have to seek it and be ready for it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big believer in that quote. I'm probably going to butcher this. Is it Thomas Jefferson, I think? Maybe? I might have that wrong. But basically, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I firmly believe that. I think of how many times in life I, too, have been in the right place at the right time. But it's because I've worked my tail off to get at that place. And it just happened to then create this little perfect storm of opportunities.
Yes, so many times one person has sent me a whole string of clients, or, this one break of, creating this Facebook page. And I was working my tail off. I was creating a new piece of content every single day with a whole long caption to go with it. I really put a lot of effort into making that go, but it paid dividends in the end. And today, I think it comes down to just being uncommon. Sometimes that means coming up with really creative solutions for problems, but a lot of times it's as simple as doing what you say you're going to do, doing it really, really well, beyond all expectation for your customer, and treating people well. I really do believe that it can be that simple.
Oh, yes. Can we just end the episode right there? Because I don't necessarily know that there's going to be a bigger takeaway. There probably are going to be 10,000 more takeaways, but that you hit the nail on the head. You have to be uncommon. You have to be unique, but then you also have to put out a good product. You have to lead with intention and, pure intention, and want to do good, and the rest absolutely follows. But it's because of that. It's like that perfect little recipe for hard work, luck, determination, being a good human, being a little unique.
Absolutely. And sometimes you'll have those big explosive moments like that viral Facebook page, but sometimes it's just working for ordinary people and doing it to the best of your abilities and giving them your all. I think that I don't know, you have to hold yourself to a really high standard. So after graduation, I decided to take a gamble on myself. I turned down a job offer from a company I had interned for, and I loved that company, and started freelancing. It was really slow at first. I made significantly less than the job I had just turned down for in that first year. I was terrified I wouldn't be able to afford my mortgage, but I took all of that scariness, and it was so motivating to me to make it happen. So like, to wrap this part up, I did everything in my power to do the best job for my clients and met pivotal people along the way, which led to more clients and incredible opportunities. I put together an entire ag advocacy booklet for Elanco's 4C Summit. If you've heard of that, I used to do a lot of work for them. I spent a couple of years running Cactus Feeder's social media, everything from concept to creation to scheduling the content. Like, they just kind of let me have a creative, not a free for all. They went through and manually approved everything I created for them, but they let me run with it. I've done photo shoots for agencies, big and small brands all along the way, and I've met like amazing, incredible people. I love to walk in other people's shoes, especially people in agriculture. I love to walk in their shoes for a day. And that's where basically my career has been spent. Up in real ag stock for a long time has just been a side project, and now it's the main thing.
So can you tell us a little bit more about like where that idea to create Real Ag Stock came from and what it is for those who maybe are unfamiliar with it?
So it is a stock site. So stock like photos and videos that companies come and buy for their marketing materials. A lot of us photographers are people who are living and working in rural America on farms and ranches, and we're taking pictures of our lives out here and making them available for the industry to use. It's been a very long journey and a slow journey. It started, maybe even back in like 16, 17. I had a bunch of old blog photos and personal photos on my hard drive. I was sad they weren't being used. The business person in me wanted to find a way to make some money off of them because they were really pretty. And the creative in me wanted to see if I could shoot more of what I wanted to shoot and see if it would still sell. So I made a pixie set gallery that had, just access for clients in like 2016, just to sell all of those extra photos. And then a year or two later, I was talking to Leah Beyer about it at a retreat. She worked for Elanco at the time in marketing, and she said, this is so needed. Like, find a way to let people purchase more photo. Like, Erin, take this to the next level beyond a pixie set gallery. It's going to be hard, but you can do it because, you're a business person. I kind of consider myself a business person who like has this creative little outlet in photography. So, and then once you have that rolling, she said, invite other photographers. And that just was mind blowing to me to even like think about getting it to a place where I could invite other people, because that requires so many workflows to keep everything straight.
Absolutely. Well, and that's something that I think is very common with Of the West and Real Ag Stock is you have two different audiences that you're working for, right? Obviously, I mean, it's basically like the agriculture version of Unsplash or any other kind of stock photo site out there. But that's the cool part is, people in agriculture, we don't want those generic photos. We want agriculture photos, like photos that every ag photographer or videographer out there has just sitting there. Like, why not put them out into the world where companies who are consistently marketing and advertising have access to them? But it can be challenging to also, get in front of photographers, but then also get in front of people buying those photos. Like, it's two very different audiences. But let's go back because I don't want to jump ahead. How long did it take to launch Real Ag Stock? So you started in 2016 with this pixie set gallery. Then you took it to the next level. So how long did that take there?
So I started working on taking it to the next level in 2018 after I had my first baby. Like, that was the real kick in the pants of like, let's find a more flexible way to make a living because traveling all over the country for shoots just like wasn't going to be as possible for me. It wasn't a sacrifice that I was willing to make. So it took a really long time to find a platform that I could efficiently upload massive quantities of product to. And my first site broke a lot in 2020. Liz Harder joined the site. She was our first contributor. She grew up near me. We went to college together. Like there was just a high level of trust. Like if everything wasn't perfect, it was fine. Like she was my sounding board. She still is my sounding board. We bounce a lot of stuff off of each other. I opened it up to the public in 2021. As far as like the public, like anybody else who wants to contribute, like, let's sign an agreement. Let's make this work. My site was still breaking a lot. Sales were still really slow. So at this point, we're already 5 years in and it's still pretty slow. And then in 2022, I had just like kind of had enough. Like I was like, we're going to go all in on this thing. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I need like some direction and some closure of like, am I wasting my time? So I migrated thousands of products to a new platform myself and started an Instagram account and just shared a lot of photography advice and kind of built a community there. And since then, we went from 25 photographers in May of 2022 to 140 photographers right now. And it's rapidly growing.
I want to highlight that there are 140 contributing photographers. And because we of the West use Real Ag Stock for a good percentage of the imagery that we use. And I can tell you they're from all over. There's definitely a group of people in the Midwest because that's where you're based out of. But there are photographers in just about any state in the nation, which is awesome because what is agriculture in the Pacific Northwest is not what agriculture is in the South or the Midwest or the eastern side of the U.S. And it is really cool to be able to go to one spot and find that kind of diversity in imagery that is absolutely crucial because it represents who we are in agriculture, which is a very diverse group of people.
Yes, it's been, how I said I like to walk in other people's shoes. I end every contributor welcome email after they get their application accepted with, like, I cannot wait to see life through your lens. And that is 100% genuine. It is so fun to live life through people's pictures because so often our pictures are so personal to us.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So I know that all of the photographers who are listening to this podcast who maybe hadn't heard of Real Ag Stock are like probably salivating at the mouth right now because they're wondering, how can I get involved? So can you break down for a photographer, or if you're the friend of a photographer, send them this episode because this really could change their life. Because the cool part about this is photographers have taken these photos. They have thousands of B-roll type photos that are sitting there on these hard drives that are collecting dust on a shelf or, whatever it is. They're not getting any use. They're not seeing the light of day. You can make money off of those photos that you've already taken that are just sitting there. This is the easiest passive income source for a photographer. How can they get involved? And how does that side of things work for a photographer?
Yeah, we try to make this as photography friendly or photographer friendly as possible. With me being a photographer myself, I know that it's hard to part with your work. So I wanted to make this like really appealing for all of us. And I will be the first person to go to bat for you and help you in any way that I can, as far as like growing your business and that kind of thing. That part has been really gratifying for me. But as far as getting involved, you can go to realagstock.work and that will give you all of the info. But here's a brief rundown. You submit an application and a portfolio, which can be as simple as an Instagram account. And then I personally review each one of those. If you're accepted, I'll send you like a list of info to get you going, as well as a contract. And then to submit photos, you just drag and drop into a portal. Like we handle all of the back end work, resizing, categorizing, keywording, applying the SKUs, uploading, all of that stuff we take care of. I wanted this to not be like a huge time commitment for you. If your photos sell, great. If not, like you're not really out anything.
It's basically no work on the photographer side of things other than uploading your photos.
Yes. Yep. And then when your photo or video sells, you get 50% of the gross revenue. So whatever your photo sells for, the purchase price, you get half of that. And then Relax Stock keeps half for all of our expenses. So side expenses and then the labor to do all of that back end work that I just described.
No kidding. That is amazing. Okay, so then let's flip the script here. For those companies who are like, man, we're always looking for stock imagery or like little B-roll stuff, for a quick, like not something that they can necessarily put a whole photo shoot around. How can those who are looking to buy stock imagery from the site, how do they use the site?
It works like any other stock site. I mean, you can create an account and then pay per photo or video or purchase an unlimited subscription. Upon purchase, you get an instant download link. So it's all very quick and simple. We differ from stock sites, though, because our contributors are paid fairly on other stock sites. Trust me, I wanted to sell my work on other stock sites before starting this, but photographers often make less than $3 when their photos are purchased. And that felt really kind of exploitive to me. So that's why I started Relax Stock. Believe me, it's not fun to run a stock site, but I have a lot of passion behind the why we do things. So that is what makes us different than other stock sites. And you can also search by ag terms on our stock site. So like crop, growth stage, breeds, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you guys have the most robust search categories. Like you can find ag business, you can find people in a field, you can find lifestyle photos, you can find Western, rodeo, roping stuff, you can find crops and anything and everything in agriculture or a Western industry. If you're looking for a photo of it, I can almost guarantee that you can find it on Real Ag Stock. And if you can't, you also have a really good policy where people can reach out to you and say, hey, we're looking for this. And then you kind of farm that out to your contributing photographers or videographers and saying, hey, if you have something like this, or if you are local and basically want to like coordinate a shoot, like you also play matchmaker in that regard.
Yes. Yep. We do everything we can to get you that photo. Sometimes it's as simple as a photographer has that in their library. I can send out a request and see if anybody has anything. Or sometimes if I know somebody like specializes in this, I reach out to them personally. I'm like, hey, can you get this for us? So yeah, we do what we can to help.
You guys really are the best. Okay, let's go back to the building of this platform, because I think that there are a lot of people out there who have this idea and they just want to launch it, but they're scared or they don't know how, or they're overwhelmed, or they don't have those details that they feel like they need to have in order to launch. But I think you and I both know you have to launch it, put it out into the world with your great intention, and then perfect it as you go. So what's been one of the biggest lessons you've learned, or maybe the challenges that you've faced while growing this platform?
For me, it's channeling my motivation. Like I said earlier, running a stock site is not fun. There's managing thousands of products, troubleshooting the site issues, like dropping everything to provide excellent customer service. None of that is like fun. But I do it for the people. And I think to keep that mission in mind, I do it because of the validation it gives the photographer who's working alongside her family in production agriculture. So she knows just how talented she is, that this company is going to use her photo in their marketing materials. I do this to funnel corporate money back into rural America and give photographers the fair compensation they deserve. I do it to highlight and honor the good, hardworking people in our images. Like these are ordinary people, not somebody that an agency is probably going to handpick. Like they're just our families and our friends and our neighbors. And I love highlighting them. I do it to have a positive impact on the industry as a whole. Marketers who are the voice of our industry now have quality images in their toolbox, and we try to make it as simple as possible for them to get those. And I think maybe even at the very core, if I'm going to do something, and if I'm going to do this, I need to do it with excellence. Like I'm called to do that as a Christian, to do everything that I can with excellence.
Oh, well, you absolutely do. And I'm going to say, because I know that you have driven past billboards on the highway where the company that's paying for this billboard, the background of that is a photo that came from Real Ag Stock. Like, is that not just the coolest, like, pinch me moment?
It absolutely is. It never gets old to see your pictures like displayed in the wild.
Oh, that would give me tears. It totally would. I'm kind of a softie.
I don't get a lot of tears, but like as I was thinking about this podcast, especially from like the journey of where, like how simple this started. and the things that I've gotten to experience, like, wow, just what, I feel very blessed.
Well, and I see so many similarities between you and I and Of the West and Real Ag Stock. And I think that's why we have become such close friends in this is because, we're passionate about the ag and Western industries, and we want to continue to see them succeed. And we know that those little nuances of finding great people to work in the industry or finding great photos that represent the industry, doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but we know that it is a big deal. And because of that, this small little seed of an idea that's inside of you, just go do the dang thing. It's scary. You can ask both Erin and I, it's scary as hell, but you just have to go do it. And you can launch with the simplest, most basic thing, prove its need, and then continue to grow it and scale it from there. But don't think that you have to, launch with some skyscraper of a business, because that's not necessarily going to work. I can actually tell you that's probably not going to work. You have to build this single story foundation that is solid, that can take the tornadoes and the hurricanes and all the other problems that are going to come, because we can both tell you that they do come, and then grow it from there. But don't be intimidated that I have this idea, but it's too small, or this isn't the thing that I really want to put out there. Do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Get started and constantly reassess.
Okay, let's get to the rapid fire round. What is the best piece of business or personal advice that you have ever been given?
Be diligent in setting expectations. If I'm unhappy with a client relationship, it's because I didn't set expectations and then hold those boundaries. In my early 20s, I used to get really frustrated with clients not getting it. I think a lot of photographers can relate to that. And then I went to a photography conference, and a speaker placed the responsibility squarely on us. And it was a game changer for me. It took away my frustration. It put me in the problem solving seat, which is where I thrive. How could I have better communicated? How could I have more consistently held this boundary? What do I need to do to fix this? How do I make sure it doesn't happen again? And when I ask myself all of those questions, then I just solve the problem instead of being what's wrong with these people?
Oh, it's so easy to place blame on others instead of realizing we may be the commonality here and the thing that actually needs to change.
Yeah, for sure. Just to take ownership of where I fell short.
Oh, okay. If you could give people any words of wisdom and you knew that they would take them to heart, what would it be?
Whatever you're doing, be 100% there. More than ever, women are sold this lie that we can have it all. Especially right now, I feel work from home and you can be a mom and be a businesswoman. But the reality is we can't be the best mom while also being the best businesswoman, while also being the best wife, while also being the best community member. But we can be intentional about where we spend our time. And while we're there, give it your all. So when I'm with my kids, I'm not also at my computer. And when I'm working, I'm giving it 100%. I'm not also planning family stuff. I'm not perfect, but this is how I've released the guilt of not feeling like I'm great at anything because I'm not doing everything.
Oh, yes. I love that. I'm a big believer in the idea that, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. And it's best to focus on one thing at a time instead of this idea that balance is some effortless multitasking thing, because that is not true at all.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, have it all, I cannot hold myself to stay-at-home mom standards while also holding myself to full-time businesswoman standards.
No, you can't be 100% in everything at all times. You only have so much to give, and that is the reality of it.
Yes, for sure.
If you could go to dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would you pick?
Jesus. I mean, talk about somebody who could give perfect guidance. I'd have so many questions. I mean, personal ones for sure. Also for our society. But Lord, give us correction, give us encouragement, give us wisdom. I mean,
I love that. That's a great answer. We've had a lot of people say Jesus, and understandably so. What is a quote that you lead your life by?
Okay. So for this one, I picked Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for man. And it just goes back to excellence and why I go as hard at things as I do, It has to be not a people-pleasing thing. It has to be because that's my calling.
Really doing stuff for you and having that passion. And if you're going to do it, do it well.
Yeah, because you're doing it because that's what we're called to do.
Last question. Let's talk about your favorite things. Do you have a favorite book or a podcast or a product or like a service maybe that has changed your life in some way and you think more people need to know about it?
Mine is so basic. Mine is go put your hands in the dirt. When there are so many like ideas and stuff and like everything's at our fingertips. And I'm one of those people where my mind just goes a million miles an hour. But for me, that hack to find some peace and some calmness is to go outside and put my hands in the dirt, whether it's gardening or landscaping or weeding or mulching. Like I just need to like ground myself and feel the wind in my face.
I am a firm believer in that. I do. I actually practice grounding, especially when I'm stressed. I will go take my socks off and I will go stand in the grass and I'll leave my phone in the house. Like even if I just have 5 minutes, it's that thing that just like pulls you back to center.
Yes. Even photography like is therapeutic for me in that sense because it makes me slow down and just be.
Yes. Okay. I feel like we have one other thing that we should probably mention here. And that is your sister, who actually was the person who connected us, who has an incredible business that our listeners should go check out. And that is Paige Heaton with No Roots Boots. Paige and I have known each other for, maybe like 7 or 8 years now, it seems. And she was actually the one who said, hey, my sister has this platform and I think that you would like it. And I'm going to send you, I don't know if she sent me your email or your phone number or what it was, but we really have been thick as thieves ever since. But if you're in the market for some boots or some shoes or, whatever it is, you've got to go hit up Paige at No Roots Boots because I can actually see that the excellence is probably a common thread between the two of you because Paige is also somebody who she does it with her whole butt. She is not going to half butt anything. The amount of work and detail and effort that she puts into her business is obviously very similar to what you put into your business. And I think that has to be a common trait between the two of you. You
should meet our mom.
Oh, that is funny. No, well, I really do. I do want to meet your mom now because if she has raised you and Paige to be the women that you are, she has to be one heck of a woman too. I firmly believe that.
She is. There's the one and only.
Oh, gosh. Well, Erin, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. You guys, like we said, if you're a photographer or a videographer and you've considered selling your photos stock-wise, but you are not sure how to, Erin has literally made the easy button out of this. Like, she's taken all the guesswork out of it. You don't have to do anything. You heard her say it. All you have to do is upload your photos. They do all the rest. They categorize them. They put the SKUs. They crop them. Like, whatever it is that's needed, they do it. You don't. You just get your 50% when you sell a photo, which is awesome. And if you're a company who is looking for photos or always on the hunt and you're not using real ag stock, you guys, it has been a game changer for Of the West. And I have told so many companies about it and every single one of them loves it just as much as we do. So take this as your sign, go get on real ag stock, start using it. It's the greatest thing that's hit our industry in a very, very long time. Erin, you've created something incredible. You are incredible. And I am so thankful that you took the time to sit down with us today. Where can people go find you online? How could I forget this?
Real Ag Stock. You can search it. That's our website, Real Ag Stock. Instagram is Real Ag Stock. So yeah, that's the easiest.
And I'll make sure that we include all of those links in the show notes as well. But Erin, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. And as always, you guys, we will see you back here next week. If you loved this episode, do us a favor and share it with someone else who might find just as much value in it as you did. We're on a mission to continue to grow and strengthen the future of agriculture and Western industries, and you spreading the word helps us make more of a positive impact. It also makes a big difference when you take a minute to go rate and review the show. We can't thank you enough for listening, for sharing, and for loving Ag and Western as much as we do. We'll see you back here for our next episode.